Okay, we are live. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. It was absolutely epic and gorgeous here. Now the weather has turned to autumn, so it's officially begun. In fact, here it is considered autumn. So it is back to work time. Now, with that, I want to make this really tactical. I'm going to hit go live on Instagram. I've been trying to do this forever. Good. Instagram, I think, is now live. Now, with that, I want to be able to make this hyper tactical for you. The goal is I'm going to teach you 5 sales plays that will open doors and book meetings on LinkedIn. Now, I'm going to give some preface to anybody who doesn't maybe know who I am to understanding my context to this. 12 years ago, I helped pioneer the sales category or sales methodology that is social selling. I have spent my entire business career prospecting on LinkedIn. And so I'm giving you sales plays that my company runs and our customers run that open doors and book meetings. And I think some of the failures that companies have is number one, they choose to reinvent a wheel that doesn't need to be reinvented. Number two, they're either wildly inconsistent or not patient or impatient. What I mean by that is prospecting is a continuous motion. I look at what we're doing on emailing campaigning, and my teammate and I, we do a regroup every Monday. And right now, if I pulled up the data, for every 100 emails out, 3 emails are engaged, and 0.6% is a meeting booked. Okay. Now, I've spent my whole career doing this. There's ways of maybe improving that, the unit economics a little bit more, depending on platforms you use, a little bit of copy change. Maybe I can get that to 4 or 5% engagement, 1% meeting book rate. Okay, that's what I know what it is. On LinkedIn, those conversions are dramatically better if you follow processes and you are much more patient to develop your voice. And this is not just about you sending out messages all day long. You really do need to be sharing ideas and best practices. Lighthouse, tugboat, all the time. Like there's got to be a balance between being a beacon, a lighthouse, and being a tugboat. Now, with that, I'm going to share with you the 5 plays. But I wanted to put that out there that if you're not having, do not write in the comments that this doesn't work. That's insane. Thousands and thousands of people are booking meetings using LinkedIn every single day. But what they are is consistent. Not every single day is there a meeting, or is there every single campaign works? Not every, depending on the time of the year, the message. There's so many variables. But they're consistent to keep trying. And they're patient, recognizing that what is your alternative? You're not going to just turn off prospecting. So with that, I'm going to share my screen. And let's dive into your options. So as I share my screen, you should see a landing page. So we have a product to get leverage, which is called LinkedIn Engagement as a Service, where we prospect on behalf of other people through them. We're using your reach and reputation. It's our horsepower doing the work. Now, if I'm looking at the sales plays, play number 1 I recommend is called the sphere of influence. It's really simple. You're going to reverse engineer a happy customer. So if Yeti water bottle is a happy customer, you're going to reverse engineer who works there today as an executive you deal with, and what are the top 3 to 5 companies they know. There's an actual process within LinkedIn where you can look for what's called high social proximity. You just need to know how to do it. Number 2, I can look for anyone that leaves Yeti as a vice president or as a CXO and goes to another business. I'm going to tell that story of Yeti to them. What about their vendors, their suppliers, their competitors? I'm telling the story of Yeti to people that are within 1 degree of separation. Okay. Play number 1. It is how I built Agency 1, Sales for Life, Agency 2, Pipeline Signals, and now Agency 3, Get Leverage. You tell a story like a spider web to the next cohort of people that would care about that story. Play number 2, customers on the move, job change alerts. Signals, compelling events. It is 6 times cheaper and easier to sell to somebody you've already sold to in the past. So play number 1, I need to look at anybody that pours out of our happy customers and where do they go? Okay. And as long as they go into an account that meets our ideal customer profile, I have to be engaging them. And then as I'm going after named accounts, I'm looking for new executives in those businesses or those that are promoted. Why? Because in the first 100 days on the job, they're going to be looking at new people, process, technology to bring to the board to say, give me budget because these are the 3, 5, 7 initiatives I want to run for the next year. You want to capture them before day 100, before they've solidified and codified that plan and started running with it. Play number 3. I'm doing this. I did it last week in New York. I'm doing it on Wednesday in Toronto. Using LinkedIn, which is like the greatest meetup tool meets, total addressable market in the world, 1 billion people. I'm inviting people to either live LinkedIn events like this, like you do a LinkedIn Live, or you can invite them to physical meetups. Like I'm doing a breakfast in Toronto on Wednesday. 33 founders are going to be in that room. I'm going to be able to have a captive audience to talk about best practices. We have customers that are driving people to webinars. They're driving them to their booth at a conference, to a coffee shop, to a meetup at a bar after the conference. It is an incredible way of taking that total addressable market and driving them to a compelling event. And then from there, you can look at those that attended and didn't attend. And now you have buying intent, you can go after them again. Number 4, permission-based content. Been doing this wildly successful with my podcast, Outsource to Profits. I invite founders to be guests on my podcast. While on the podcast, I ask them great questions. And after the recording, I give them permission. I ask a simple question. What would you like to know about my agency? And if they bite and they start asking questions, they want to learn more, I've given them permission to learn more about the business. Now I can book a meeting within a meeting. You can do this with newsletters as well, or if you have a publication, some sort of asset where you can say, come be a guest on my asset. I'm going to give you the ability to be a star. But while you're there, if they want to learn more about you, you've given them permission to do so. And the final is the time for knowledge exchange. What you're trying to do when you book a meeting is gain somebody's time, 30 minutes on their calendar. What you have to give is knowledge they don't already know. You might have a benchmarking study. You might have competitive analysis, and you give them a sample and you say, here is what's going on in your market. Here is your website versus your competitors. And they review as a tangible, physical hyperlink to a landing page that gives them best practices. And you say, I'll give you the rest of it. Do you mind if we book a meeting next Thursday at 10 o'clock? They'll give you time. You give them more knowledge. So these 5 sales plays, wildly effective. And I wanted to be able to give you those because now you just need to be consistent. You need to be patient to be able to use the world's largest total addressable market online in LinkedIn to prospect. So I hope that you found this valuable. I wanted to give you something tangible to walk away with, but that's what we do. We prospect on LinkedIn on behalf of founders and chief revenue officers and co-founders and presidents and chief marketing officers to open doors. Got to use one of these 5 plays.